Well, hey there, Myth Junkies. This is Mama Mythos. Whether you're an expert on mythology or you're fairly new to it in my channel, I would like to give you a warm welcome. Today we will be showcasing the mythology behind the Sirens. What are they? What is behind that beautiful voice? We'll find out, but listen closely. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Are you able to resist the song of the siren as we unravel their mysteries? The sirens are dangerous and desirable creatures. They lure nearby sailors with their enchanting music and singing voices, which causes those who are under the spell of the siren to shipwreck on the rocky coast of Syrenius, an archipelago located south of Capri, Greece. The name Siren means binder or entangler. In this case, one who binds or entangles through magic song. Their song takes effect at midday in a windless calm. The end of that song is death. Sirens were said to be cannibals. Circe said it so herself. Lolling there in the meadow, round them heaps of corpses rotting away, rags of skin shriveling on their bones. Yummy. There are many famous writers that have slightly different descriptions of sirens and their song, but ultimately, all of them still manage to instill both fear and wonder. Clericus wrote that they exist in India and that they charm men by their song, and, having first lulled them to sleep, tear them to pieces. Leonardo da Vinci even said, "The siren sings so sweetly that she lulls the mariners to sleep. Then she climbs upon the ships and kills the sleeping mariners." Franz Kafka wrote in The Silence of the Sirens, "Now the sirens have a still more fatal weapon than their song, namely their silence. And though admittedly such a thing never happened, it is still conceivable that someone might possibly have escaped from their singing, but from their silence, certainly never." A writer by the name of Hyginus said that sirens are fated to die if mortals heard their song and passed them by, which very rarely happened. But Odysseus, who was a mortal, did manage to do this by being tied to the mast of his own ship, while his companions plugged their ears with beeswax. Supposedly, once he passed them, the sirens flung themselves into the crashing waves and perished forevermore. As we mentioned before, this is the siren silence. So, what did the sirens sing to Odysseus? Well, they said, "Once he hears to his heart's content, sails on a wiser man. We know all the pains that the Greeks and Trojans once endured. On the spreading plain of Troy, when the gods willed it so. All that comes to pass on the fertile earth, we know it all." Sirens are mantic creatures like the Sphinx, with whom they have much in common, knowing both the past and the future. The physical description of these beings are just as interesting as their powers of persuasion. Sirens were believed to combine women and birds in various ways. In early Greek art, sirens were represented as birds with large women's heads, bird feathers, and scaly feet. Later, they were represented as female figures with the legs of birds, with or without wings, playing a variety of music, using flutes, harps, and lyres. So we have seen the bird-like forms of sirens, but there are also depictions of them being more sea folk-like. When did that change? In early Christian belief and works of literature, it's told that sirens were prostitutes who seduced men into drowning in sinful pleasures. It wasn't until this time that sirens were seen depicted as half basilisk, half woman. For what could be more tempting than a snake with a voice? Much like in the Garden of Eden. We all know how that turned out. The sirens themselves are known to have a variety of different names throughout the storybooks of mythology. The most notable were Parthenope, Leucotia, and Ligeia, One of them sang, another played the flute, the third played the lyre. Parthenope's name means maiden-voiced. Leucotia may have been featured in pottery art, and Ligeia, which interestingly enough is a story by Edgar Allan Poe. It may have very little influence on the sirens that we know, but did you know that there are sirens that escort the dead into the afterlife? This term is known throughout myth culture as a psychopomp, a being that aids the dead to their journey into the afterlife. I would love to dig deep into the world of Poe at some point in the future. What do you say? Would you like to see videos about the characters and creatures within his world? Let me know in the comments below. So what other times did sirens appear in myth? According to Ovid, sirens were Persephone's companions. Demeter gave them wings to fly in search of Persephone when she was abducted. In another story, Hera, queen of the gods, persuaded the sirens to enter a singing contest with the Muses. The Muses won the competition by a landslide, and then plucked out all of the feathers from the sirens and made crowns out of them. Out of their anguish from losing the competition, the sirens turned white and fell into the sea. Lorelei is another great example of a siren, but of German culture. While sitting on the cliff above the Rhine and combing her golden hair, she unwittingly distracted shipmen with her beauty and song, causing them to crash on the rocks. She was accused of bewitching passing sailors. Instead of being sentenced to death for her crime, she was sent to a nunnery. As she passed the Rhine one last time with guards at her side, she convinced them to let her climb once more to the very same cliff. Thinking she saw her lover passing through, she fell into the crashing waves to meet her own death. So this is a rare moment for me and a first for my channel, but I would like to include one honorable mention in this video. While the movie itself has nothing to do with mythology, this scene was my favorite in the entire film, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Go to sleep, my name is Ulysses Everett McGill, and well, you free ladies are about the prettiest. And the devil makes three. Don't need no other loving babe.
My favorite siren has to go to Final Fantasy. She is seen in multiple games throughout the franchise. She has the same traits and ferocity as any would imagine within mythology. She's gorgeous and deadly. Her powers include moves such as Silence, which disables spellcasting. She can be a summon who fights alongside you and a boss. Who is your favorite siren? Don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Well then, that was fun, but I bet you're dying to see more. In that case, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. I'll see you guys next time, and thank you for letting Mama break down the mythos.